Hello, Garland Nixon here, and we're hanging out with our friend Laith Marouf. Let's talk. Hello, Garland Nixon here. We're hanging out with Laith Marouf, and lots of good things going on with Laith Marouf. In fact, he's got a great channel. We're going to talk a bit, and then we're going to show it to you. It's freepalestine.tv, excuse me, .video, and that's Free Palestine TV, but you can find it at freepalestine.video, and we're going to tell you all about it. But first, we're going to get going with the important things going on in the region. I'm going to get Laith's thoughts, from live. Are you in Beirut?
Yeah, I'm in Beirut, but I couldn't make it home fast enough for this, so I had to stop at a coffee shop just to get the call on.
Oh, well, that's important, man. That's real stuff right there. Wow, real stuff from a coffee shop in Beirut. I'm in Beirut. I'm excited. Let's start this. I'm going to throw this at you. I know all the things that I'm thinking, but I want to hear your thoughts on the Epstein documents.
Yeah, I mean, now we have 100% proof that Jewish supremacists, pedophile, cannibals rule the West. And obviously, if there is anything that is going to, help the population in the West revolt, this would be it. Honestly, if the population in the West doesn't revolt after seeing this proof, there's nothing that's going to move them. It's a sad story, that people are ruled by such elite. I mean, I've been every day I've been discovering more and more things. All the kind of quote unquote conspiracy theories that people had in their mind, Pizzagate, all of that. That looks like child's play. It looks like people didn't have enough imagination in their conspiracy theories when you look at these Epstein files. But as a person from the Arabic world here, again, we have proof now that the Arab monarchs that were installed after World War I to rule over the oil and gas fields are part of this pedophilia, cannibalism ring. The most disgusting thing as an Arab or as a Muslim that I saw was the the covering of the Kaaba in Mecca, the holy site, the cube that's there, the sacred shroud on it was gifted to Epstein. This is a very holy relic that people go touch when they are going for pilgrimage. So that shows you also how depraved the elite in the Saudi kingdom are for them to take the shroud of the Kaaba and give it to Epstein. We have the photos, of course, of MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, with Epstein. We have all those files about the UAE and Qatari elite and others. Even the former prime minister of Lebanon, Hariri, is on those files. So again, we see how all of the regional vassals of the West are implicated in this. That's the only reason they're put in power, is because they participate in these depravities, and there's all this dirty stuff on them that can make them forever tools.
The other thing that I think is interesting in that is the arrogance of the Zionists. Something that you talked about, something that's really screwed up in a society that, it's like the U.S. says, we're the best, we're number one, we're better than everybody. Except the Zionists, they're better than us. We're second place to them. A like society that teaches itself Yeah, they're the chosen people. What about us? Yeah, you know, we're just second rate to those people. Why wouldn't they write like, oh, the Goyim, it's good for us, but screw them. Hey, do I have to stand in line? No, that's for the Goyim. We go straight to the front of the line. We're smarter than they are. We're better than that. Well, here's the question. How do you know that? Because they told you that you were better than them. What the hell kind of a society says we're the best, we're America, we're the West, we're number one. Well, actually, we're number two. Everything is sick about this.
I mean, reading those exchanges about blood quantum and how much percentage somebody is Jewish, and seeing the correspondence between Noam Chomsky, the idol of the leftovers, who's basically agreeing with this racist blood quantum things, talking about black people and others as less IQ, talking about humans in general that are not Jewish as not human, as just vassals, bodies that are empty of soul. This is outright how they're discussing things. I know that a lot of people have resisted this idea that Jewish supremacy is a curse on us, or that it has so much sway in the Western elite. But now we have that proof. There's no denying it. I know when probably since yesterday, the searches on the word goyim has like jumped 1,000,000% specifically in the US, because people don't know this word usually. But this is how they look at us. They look at us as empty bodies that are created in the image of them, that have no soul, that are fine to be cannibalized and raped and killed. Those images, I mean, I try to erase them from my head. The images that we saw from these Epstein files of the children being, pinned down by Prince Andrew and others. It's ridiculous. Of course, now the question is, will American, Canadian, European citizens do something about this? I don't know. I highly doubt it. Uh, there's no shame in what they're doing. They've been rubbing it in our face, releasing it in movies as if it's fiction over and over. Remember Eyes
Eyes
Wide
wide
Shut?
shut. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So that looks like child's play in comparison to the things in the Epstein files.
How
Um,
about this? There's a famous movie called They Live. And in the movie They Live, basically the ruling elite had like completely sold us out. It was to the aliens or whatever, but the key was they had completely sold us out, and you couldn't see it. They were living a total different life in a total different world, but you couldn't see it. And then you had to put these special glasses on, and then you could see it. But the message was there. The ruling elite have sold us out, and they don't live in the same world as us, and we're just we're nothing to them, and you have to be able to see it. And what was interesting was that the big fight in that movie was a guy fighting because he didn't want the glasses. He didn't want the opportunity to see it. But now they all beat us up and shove the glasses on our face. We can see it.
Oh yeah, I love that movie. I mean, every maybe decade or so I watch it. Of course, it's from the early '80s. For those who haven't, I even got my kids to watch it,
Yeah.
and I think they were like, "What the hell are you getting us to watch that?" But I was like, "You need to watch this movie because it really tells you a lot about how things are happening in our societies." One other thing about the Epstein files. We look at the exchanges that happened in those files about Syria. Clearly, the Zionists were trying to take down President Assad. Clearly, they had influence over all the players. Epstein himself was working to try to influence the Russian government to abandon Syria. Maybe somebody else did, but this is what happened in the end. Russia did abandon Syria. So it's clear why the Syrian government or officials from Syria were not in the Epstein files, because they were actual leaders that cared for their people. Those who are missing from the Epstein files are all the enemies of the United States and the Zionists. No Koreans, no Iranians, no Cubans, no Venezuelans. Um, there was, it seems like, multiple women that Epstein had influence over that tried to somehow influence President Putin, but they didn't succeed. So this is the world we live in. Um, Now, do people close their eyes and pretend it's not happening and go on with their lives? You know, children all over the world are victims of this. A lot of white children. You know, if you don't care about Palestinian or African or Arab children, you should be caring about white children if you're European or American. And a big chunk of these children that are target for this pedophilia and cannibalism were from a European and American background.
Well, and the other thing is in there they talk about how the Zionists wanted to get the one of the reasons that they wanted to get the Ukraine conflict going is so that Russia would have to focus on that and wouldn't be able to focus on Syria. That was in there. And additionally, here's the other one. There was a message between one of the Rothschilds and Epstein where he said basically, well, Ukraine has fallen. There will be many opportunities to make money, many. And something that I reported on, you can find it in old videos of mine, where what I reported on is that after they overthrew Libya, the sovereign wealth fund was, quote, missing. And I showed these articles. There was different numbers. It was 11 billion. It was 40 million. It was billion. It was this, all these articles with different numbers. And they were like, it was missing. We can't find it. You look in there. And I said, that's one of the things they did, that when they overthrow a country, they steal all the money. And there in the article, I mean, in the Epstein files, he's saying, yeah, boy, now there's a big old sovereign wealth fund. And they say it's 30 billion. But it's way more than that, and we're going to get our mitts on that money. It's exactly what many of us knew in the arguments that we made, and that was they overthrew Libya. Sure, they had their diabolical and certainly reasons for overthrowing it, but afterwards they went in and pilfered and looted every dime, and they it's like killing someone and then going in their pockets and rifling through their pockets and stealing their watch and you want to kill them anyway, but you're going to steal everything that's there. That's who these people are.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I've always was heartbroken for what happened in Libya. This was a country that was the richest in Africa, had one of the largest deposits of oil and gas, had a small population. Everybody got free education, free healthcare, free housing, free transportation, and a salary directly from the government. That's all gone, of course. And as you said, those tens of billions of dollars that were in the sovereign wealth in the banks in Europe and North America, all looted by these Zionists. The same thing happened to the Iraqi wealth. Same thing happened to the Syrian wealth. Right now, nobody wants to talk to, of course, about Syria. It's like as if nothing happened last year. And you have, they brought in a pedophile head chopper into govern Damascus. And all the children and women that were trafficked and raped and cannibalized and killed in Syria and Iraq, nobody cared for them. And now what's happening in Syria, nobody cares about it. But the truth is, this is every leader that is under control of the West has been created in the image of this cult, this cannibalistic, pedophile, satanistic cult of Jewish supremacy, and nobody, look, I remember seeing an exchange between Berlusconi and Epstein, and Epstein is inviting Berlusconi to his island, and Berlusconi is saying, "Why would I go there? I have got all the girls here, and I don't need to drug them. They just need to drink my tasty wine, and they'll give it up for free." So this is how depraved they are. This is how these people that are put into leadership in Western countries are, and any country that is under their influence. And God have mercy on humanity if these people continue to be in power after all this exposure, uh, they will be even bolder. They may even rape children in front of our eyes, and eat them in front of our eyes, and rub it in front of our face. And because now, if nobody does anything, then there's nothing that's going to move us to do something.
Yeah, I mean, a Zionist rabbi owns Pornhub. A Zionist rabbi owns OnlyFans. I mean, they're like telling you right in front of their face every, I mean, any place on the internet that, is, related to any kind of sexual activity is going to be a Zionist owned. And most likely they don't just own it, they use it. They probably think about this. If you've got OnlyFans, let's say you own OnlyFans or Pornhub, right? What do? The Epstein wives. You keep track of everyone who's watching, and you have software in there that accesses their cameras to see what they're doing, right? So ideally, hopefully, you get them in some compromised position. And of course, you can record, well, this person's spending all of this time on OnlyFans, on Pornhub, whatever. This is a famous person. And if you ever need to, you may have a compromising video from accessing their stuff. You may have compromising audio from hearing what they're saying in the back. You might, what I mean? So all of these things are effectively, they're just Epstein the world in a way. They're Epstein all of these people utilizing this stuff. That's what I think.
Oh yeah, and of course you could imagine that people that have less power, that are ensnared in these operations, they're much more malleable to follow dictates of this cult. So maybe somebody like Trump or others that are much more powerful can negotiate their compromise with these Epstein cult kind of people. But regular Joe Blow, this is going to be the end of their life. They're going to be a slave for the rest of their life if they're ensnared in such a thing. And remember the all the beauty pageants and Victoria's Secret and all of these things. I mean, all of those young girls and women were part of the network of moving women around and girls around the world for this sexual slavery. Um, you know, and this is not new. Remember, like maybe more than a decade ago, a decade and a half ago, we already heard about the pageants in Ukraine and what was happening to all those young girls falling into sexual slavery. So, we had the signals, many signals over the last decade and a half about this, and now we have the full proof. And there's still more videos and audio and text that's coming out of these Epstein files. So I don't think anyone on this planet is not going to know about it at the end of these couple of weeks.
The one last thing I'll say is perhaps people should revisit the issue of Erica Kirk. She ran an orphanage for children in supposedly, allegedly, for young children in Romania, allegedly at age 17, which tells me they didn't. And of course, her orphanage, Romanian Angels, was implicated in what do you call it? It was implicated in like child trafficking and things like that. And I have to show you something. Let me find it. It was, here's look at this. You're gonna love this, and I mean that in a bad way. An example. Erica Kirk is criticized for inviting Pastor Greg Laurie on her tour amid his alleged abuse scandal, right? There we go. And it's called, listen to this. Erica Kirk is no stranger to controversy, and her decision to invite Pastor Greg Laurie along her Make Heaven Crowded tour has landed her in the seat once again. Several federal lawsuits have been filed in the United States court in California alleging that former Harvest Christian Fellowship pastor Paul Hausgard sexually abused and trafficked children at a church-run homes in Romania. These civil complaints also named Lori the senior pastor. So she had a child trafficking, allegedly, a child something to help the young children in Romania. So now she has a Make Heaven Crowded tour, and she brings along this preacher who is being sued for child sexual abuse in Romania. I suspect that in light of what we learned in the even before you should have known it in the documents, the Epstein documents, it seems glaringly obvious that Erica Kirk, this whole TPU USA thing, is a Zionist operation involved in, surprise, child trafficking, child sex stuff, all that kinds of stuff. And she's still bringing her cohorts with her. I mean, it's so obvious that this whole thing is a psychotic, deranged scam.
Oh yeah, definitely. Erica Kirk is an agent. Charlie Kirk was somehow an agent, but didn't go far enough. So they used his death to strengthen the operation that they were working on with his wife. And you know, all of this talk about trafficking children. I think about the thousands of Palestinian children that disappeared in Gaza. Remember that video of an Israeli soldier stealing a Palestinian child from Gaza at the beginning of the war and just walking back inside the Zionist colony with her? We don't know what happened to her, but thousands upon thousands of children were probably kidnapped from Gaza, and now that we know that they've been cannibalizing children, it's very likely that they ended up in such a state. My heart, of course, is broken for these things. We look at that, the Israelis trying to break the Guinness World Record for kidney transplants last week, 4,000 kidney transplants in the same day. Those are for sure coming from kidnapped and murdered Palestinian children and adults, that their body parts were moved to the Jewish supremacist cult. I don't know where we can end this discussion, because there's so much. It's unbelievable. It definitely feels that we have entered the bizarro world. But
Can I
maybe
interrupt
I
you?
hope.
Can I
Yeah.
interrupt you? I got to bring one thing up, something that you and I have both done a lot of work on. You remember all of these stories, we both worked on them, in Canada, about Native Indigenous children who were all taken from their parents. And they said, oh, we're going to re-educate them. And they took them to these homes. And some of them were beaten, some of them were buried. They found small graves around there where like hundreds of them were killed. And they said, oh, well, they just died of natural causes or whatever, and we had to bury them. That story certainly looks different now, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. I don't know if our viewers know about the butterbox babies. Do you know this
No.
term, butterbox babies? Okay, so between the two world wars, during the two world wars, a lot of white men were in Canada specifically, sent, of course, to the fronts in Europe, and all these white women were left needing to satisfy their needs somehow. So they ended up, getting pregnant from their lovers, whether they're black or indigenous, mainly. And once they got pregnant, they would go to the church, and the church will keep them in, hide them, so nobody knows that they're pregnant. And then once they give birth, the church would take the babies from them. They will be sent home, and then the babies will be fed only a stream of water and sugar until they die. And once they die, originally it used to be that when you get butter delivered to your house or store, it comes in a butter box that's like a wooden box, like a crate, and they would just put these starved dead children in the church in these butter boxes, and then bury them in the garden around the church. So over the last few last decades, thousands upon thousands of these butter box babies were found in the churches around Canada. And this is above and beyond, of course, the direct torture and murder of Indigenous children in the residential schools. Another note that maybe people don't know is that the first ever torture with electricity, specifically directed to the genitals, was in these residential schools in Canada. Whenever Indigenous children were kidnapped from their communities and brought to these churches, they didn't speak English, so they would be tortured anytime they spoke their own language, specifically with these electric shocks to the testicles or the genitals. And thousands upon thousands of Indigenous children died. Something like 30 to 40% of all children that went through the residential school systems in Canada ended up being killed, tortured, beaten to death, and the rest of those children were victims of sexual abuse, rape, and this resulted in a mass trauma, of course, of the Indigenous population that broke the family structures and brought down the birth rate of the Indigenous population to the levels that make the immigration into Canada outnumber them.
Well, it certainly again gives us a different view on Abu Ghraib. You know, the depraved state of there. People were like, you're making people get naked and piling people in bodies and tying stuff to people's genitals. In hindsight, and they were like, and if you remember, the Bush people were like, well, that's just those people, a couple of private first class from West Virginia. Well, now in hindsight, it's obvious that that stuff came from the top. These people, this is who they are. And as you said, a nation of sheep begets a government of wolves. If American people and Western people look at this and they're like, oh boy, I still got to support the Democrats. Not me. I'm supporting the Republicans. Are you supporting labor? I don't know. I think the Tories. If you're still there, there's no hope for you. You deserve what you get right now.
Yeah, did you see Mamdani's mother is in those files? Married to
one thing. I don't know if you now here's the thing. Here's what's interesting, and the people have to be wary. Guess what's come out about that? And this is what people have to be wary of. Mamdani's mother was mentioned in an email, right? But that was it. So somebody made some AI pictures of her and released them, and then researchers started researching and found out that those pictures weren't from that. But nevertheless, it is interesting that Epstein would even be mentioning her. You know what I mean? I've never trusted Mamdani from the very beginning. His wife, apparently, to me, she strikes me as an MI6 operative all the way. I'm not saying that I know she is. I'm just saying from the very beginning, when I started researching her, I said, that smells like a spook. But my point, I mean, she's like, that smells like Erica Kirk, but I think Mamdani's Erica Kirk too. But my point being, the fact that she'd even be mentioned in there. Or
well, look,
go ahead.
As a Syrian, I can tell you 100% Mamdani's Syrian wife is an Asian. So she is, since the beginning of her career, the only reason that supposedly she got all these art grants and so forth is that she was doing all this public denouncements of the Syrian government and exaggerating the problems in Syria and supporting the quote unquote revolution, which is, of course, as we know, a flood of terrorists, Wahhabi terrorists from around the world that was sent to Syria to take it down. And so, and the way she was married to him, very fast, not much talk about it before. It's like all of it arranged marriages for optics. And his mother was married to a Jewish supremacist person, Mamdani's mother. Again, you wonder how his career was suddenly, put forward and raised in attention. So, look, electoral politics are tainted completely in the West. There is no way people can elect themselves out of this mess. And anyone that is trying to drive people who are angry at these realities, as at finding out the truth, anyone who is trying to drive them back into the electoral politics is themselves a agent. Look at what's happening in the UK right now. Talk about the Green Party is doing great. The Green Party is doing great, and you're like, yeah, yeah. Wait till you find out this Jewish president of the Green Party, if he's really Jewish supremacist or not. You know, similar all this talk about the rebels in the Democratic Party. What the hell kind of rebels are they that they keep on voting for increasing the weapons, spending and sending to Israel and so forth? So the only path forward for all of humanity right now is the defeat of Western elites. And that can happen in two ways only: either a revolt internally, which I doubt, and or a military defeat. And I think everybody that's watching must understand that right now the Islamic Republic of Iran is humanity's last hope to end the depravity of the Western elite.
If people want to wonder why Charlie Kirk died, let me show you a tweet. I'm going to show you a tweet from Charlie Kirk, right? Watch this before he died. Charlie Kirk, read this. I'm going to read this. I want everybody to look at this. That's Charlie Kirk's tweet. That's his Twitter account. This is from X. Breaking: an international pedophile ring spanning the globe has been exposed, already resulting in nearly 100 arrests in the US and Australia alone. The probe was launched after 2 FBI agents were tragically killed, which led to unraveling of this evil ring of child abusers. The Australian Federal Police have confirmed 19 men have been arrested on charges of sharing child abuse material online. At least 13 children were rescued in a joint operation with the FBI, coined Operation Bacchus. But remember, it's all a QAnon conspiracy. So poor old Charlie Kirk, I think, didn't know what he was into. Again, I can see him coming home to his wife. Yes, you're not going to believe what I've uncovered. What, honey? A international pedophile ring. Oh, really? So how much do you know, Charlie? Oh, I know everything. Oh, really? He was a dead man. He came home and told his spooky wife, hey, I know everything. And she said, oh, really? Well, you know what happens to people. What's the old word? Snitches get stitches and end up in ditches. He knew too much. And he's sitting there tweeting. You notice they talk about everything else, why he might have been killed. But he literally tweeted, there's an international pedophile ring spinning the globe. Oh yeah. Well, guess what's going to happen to you, buddy? That maybe I'm wrong. But look at what his wife did. Look at what she's doing. She took over immediately after him, started dancing around, pyrotechnic shows. She brings in all of the Zionists. She brings in an accused sexual abuser from Romania. He was on to him, and they killed him.
Yes, yes. And I don't know if you saw that email exchange about Epstein in the Vatican, walking around in the archives, walking around in the internal corridors, looking and reviewing the architecture, a meeting with a pope. This whole thing about cannibalistic pedophile cult it's a long story. It's not just today. It goes all the way back, of course, what the Crusades, what they did when they arrived here, the Crusaders, they cannibalized the whole city of Ma'arat al-Nu'man for 3 days. They mass raped every child, man and woman. We know what they did to the indigenous peoples in the Americas. We know what they did to the African people that were enslaved in the cross-Atlantic enslavement trade. You know, the people that were brought as slaves into the New World were not just work and labor; they were also sexual slaves, men and women. The stories. This is what the elite in the West has always done for hundreds of years. And now it's just that we have unlimited media proof of it. But we can read, the priests that, joined Columbus on his invasion of Mexico. You can read those priests what they saw in their own eyes, the mass rape and mass cannibalism that was conducted by the conquistadors. So it's nothing new. uh, I don't understand how most people think that, oh yeah, well, that happened in one era, it's not going to happen in this era. Well, now, there's a continuity. It's the same elite, it's the same families for 700 years that have been ruling the West, and they have habits that generation after generation they continue doing. One last thing I want to say about this Epstein file, and maybe we'll talk about something else after. I was shocked to see, this one of the assistants of Donald Trump during his first presidency being one of his sexual slaves, and how she had, told others that Trump prefers her over his daughters. So it's clear that maybe Trump was raping his own daughters even. And whenever he talked about Ivanka, in that very sexualized manner, and people were like, "Whoa, what is it?" Well, we seems like he definitely, tapped that. So this how disgusting the level of pedophilia is. It's incestuous. I read also in different files these different elites from the West actually bringing their children to these, uh, you know, um, orgies of pedophilia, and it seems like their own children were made to participate in this at very early age to normalize it to them that they will be also raping other children when they grow up, like they were raped as children.
Yeah, it's something else that I got to add to it, and that is, if you remember the AIDS epidemic, I recall reading the AIDS epidemic, and then it was like, yeah, for some reason, it's really spread in Haiti. You remember it was Haitian immigrants, Haitian this, Haitian that, and I read an article that these because Haiti was very very poor, that these elites would go there and that they would use the poverty there so they could buy sex with children. And it was believed that all of these elites who would get AIDS or whatever then went to Haiti and they were paying to have sex with children, you're taking advantage of the poverty. And that's how it spread. So, and it was going on so much that's how it spread in Haiti. And that's when they started saying, oh, well, we're getting it from Haitians. That wasn't really what was happening. Haitians were getting it from them, who were going there using that for prostitution with children and all kinds of stuff like that. That's how AIDS spread to I think about it. It's a little island. How does AIDS spread like wildfire there?
Yes, and it's the same thing with South Africa, by the way. I was reading in the Epstein files, and South Africa was one of their main hunting grounds, especially after the collapse of the apartheid regime and the financial strangulation of South Africa to make sure that the black population doesn't recover from the end of the apartheid regime. So, yeah, it seems like maybe actually all of AIDS was started in these depraved circles of cannibalistic pedophiles Jewish supremacist cannibalistic pedophiles that spread it around the world. It's not the other way around. It's not some African that supposedly had sex with a monkey that created AIDS, but it's actually a Jewish supremacist that was raping everything that walks and eating it after he rapes it. That's brought us AIDS. This is most probably the origin of AIDS, is these circles of Jewish supremacist pedophile cannibals.
And there are certainly those who suspect that it was made in a lab. So bottom line, some kind of way, one thing's obvious: if there was something evil going on Earth, they had it. The Western elites had a hand in it. Anyway, let me ask you, I only got a few more minutes here. Your thoughts on the current standoff in Iran?
Yes, yes. Well, it seems like the United States is backing out. Maybe they had gathered all what they have in power in terms of firepower, and then they gathered all their air defenses that they can move from different parts of the world to the region here. And as they were doing multiple tests over the last week to kind of you know, probe the air defenses of Iran, they realized that they will not be able to do a strike that is one time that is effective enough to destroy the government of Iran and its weapons, and therefore that the Iranian retaliation would be successful in destroying much of the American bases and American allies in the region. They run, the United States, moved all the THAAD missile systems that it can into the region. It moved as much of the Patriot systems that it has into the region, and that was not enough to cover the thousands of Iranian hypersonic missiles that would be fired. And therefore, they realized that this is going to be a losing fight, that they will lose thousands of soldiers, but that doesn't mean that they are not going to do it. Right now, we have these supposed negotiations starting, which are not going to go anywhere. The Chinese and the Russians brought their navy to the Gulf of Oman. They're doing live naval exercises with Iran. That's all probably to signal to the United States that a war with Iran, a regional war, would lead to somehow China and Russia also being dragged into it. But what is the way out for the United States after this? If they withdrew now from the region, this is going to be a humiliation. If they attack, they're going to lose a lot and they're going to be humiliated. So what's the way forward? It's not clear, especially with all these Epstein files and the collapse of the American dollar that is accelerating. We may find that the United States is going to attack Iran, even though that the outcome is not sure for them, just because they need to somehow distract from the realities that are happening.
I'm glad you mentioned the money, because I was on Galloway yesterday and I mentioned that they were talking about the Epstein files in Iran. I said, understand that the economic collapse of the West is inextricably linked to this other madness, and that the reality is this system that Epstein talked about. It was interesting in that he literally said things that you or I could be thrown off of platforms for. He said, that's how the Jew makes money. That's what he said in his whatchamacallit. Yeah, basically speculation. We speculate with money. We make money. That's how we make money. Let the goyim go out there and work for a living. He literally said that, right? So we're talking about a system of financial speculation, but it's not really, I've said this on Gallup, it's not really speculation. Because if I say you and I are going to play a card game, right, which is supposed to be a game of chance, and I'm holding aces up my sleeve, it ain't a game of chance. I'm cheating, right? If it's supposed to be speculation and I set it up so if the stocks go up, I win, I make money. If they go down, I make money. Any money I put in, I'm guaranteed to win every time. Well, that's not a game of chance, is it? That's not even speculation, because I'm guaranteed to win. So they set up this crooked system where they were guaranteed to make money no matter what. Epstein bragged about it. And now that thing, which is a Ponzi scheme, and Ponzi schemes eventually collapse, and everybody loses their money except the people at the top, right? Now that thing's falling apart and they're in desperation. And now the people that did that want to sacrifice our sons and daughters to keep it going. Oh, well, America, yeah, throw your kids in there and let them die. Let Iranians die. Let all of these working class people all over the region die so that we can continue this system that makes us rich without working.
Yeah, I read in the files there about how Epstein and his buddies crashed the shipping companies, Chinese shipping companies, stocks. It's very easy when you have unlimited amount of money. You can manipulate the markets and destroy your enemies in a blink of an eye. Look at how they destroy currencies of different countries. Here in Lebanon in 2018, there was the economic crash, but how did suddenly out of the blue the economic crash happened here? How can the Lebanese lira go from 1,500 to an American dollar to 150,000 to an American dollar in a span of minutes? And that's very easy because if you have an unlimited amount of money, you can just buy the currency and suck it out of the market, and suddenly they have to print more of it and more of it and more of it, and suddenly it keeps on losing value, and your economy is crashed. This is what they've done to every country that they had a problem with. They've crashed their economies artificially, and this is why it's very hard for small countries like Lebanon to actually be sovereign or independent when their economies are so easily manipulated with somebody that has more money in their bank. Epstein himself definitely had triple, four times the reserves of money that Lebanon has. So he can buy up and sell out the currency at any rate he wants to. So the world that we live in is easily manipulated by this class. And in order for countries to be safe from this manipulation, there has to be bigger blocks, as is happening with BRICS, and there has to be a dependency on actual precious metals like gold and silver. So it's hard to manipulate currencies when you have actual reserves that in your bank.
Just to let people know something. So Donald Trump just nominated a guy named Kevin Warsh to run the Federal Reserve. According to Grok, he says Ronald Lauder is a billionaire businessman, heir to the Estee Lauder company, and president of the World Jewish Congress. He's the former U.S. ambassador to Austria. His son-in-law is Kevin Warsh, recently nominated as Fed chair by Trump. So the Trump nominates a Fed chair whose father-in-law is a billionaire, president of the World Jewish Congress. He's also was a member of the Mega Group, which was that was Wex Lexner, the Bronfman family, the people who financed Epstein. He is alleged to have provided fake passports for Epstein. So the guy who's going in now, here's what that tells me. They just called Trump and said, Trump, this is your guy. You think Trump's going to say no to them? They got video, they got everything. So what do we have? We got another Epstein guy. He's putting in charge of the Fed.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Bronfmans. The Bronfmans are from Canada, by the way.
Don't they own Seagram's Gin or something? Seagram's?
Exactly, Seagram's and Canadian Royale and all of those alcohol. They made their money as smugglers of alcohol into the United States during the Prohibition. They were also smuggling, by the way, prostitutes and so forth. And then they built, all these brothels and strip clubs in Montreal because it's so close to New York. And you can drive.
They worked with Al Capone. Did you know this? They worked with Al Capone and they worked with the Kennedys' father, because they were both, because the Kennedys' father was also a whiskey smuggler.
Yeah, and so they obviously all the black artists who were banned from performing in New York. They would, bring them to Montreal to perform. This is how Montreal became like the famous hub for jazz music in the world. And they were never punished for being so involved in prostitution and smuggling of alcohol. They became the richest family in Canada, and they were leading the World Jewish Congress and the World Zionist Organization for more than 6 decades. The Bronfman family were in charge of both. So this is, long-running criminality. The last criminal activity that happened was in the early 2000s. The son, the hire of the Bronfman family, wanted to move all his assets out of Canada and to the United States to buy, at that time, Viacom, that one of the biggest entertainment production companies in the United States. And if you move money out of a country, usually you have to pay tax on it. And the prime minister at the time, Jean Chrétien, gave an exemption to the Bronfmans to move something like $50 billion out of Canada without not having to pay 1 cent on it. And so this is the criminality is multi-generational. They definitely believe that they are a chosen people and above us all, and that we have one set of rules for us and another for them.
Let's while we're here, let's talk about this very important thing. Tell people about freepalestine.video. That's Free Palestine TV, about your great website.
Yes, yes. We're doing field reporting from across the region, the battle to liberate Palestine. We're reporting from South Lebanon every couple of days. There's a documentary that we just released 2 days ago. It's doing really well. People should watch it. It's about the history of collaboration between the Greek government and the Greek Orthodox Church and the Zionists, all the way from the early 1900s. People know, of course, about the Catholic Church and its collaborations with the Zionists, but they don't know about the Orthodox Church. This is very important information. We did another documentary about the history of the Zionist collaboration with the fascists in Italy, bringing Mussolini into power. Again, that's another story where most people know about how the Zionists collaborated with Hitler and helped him come to power and what have you, but they don't know how that also happened again with the fascists in Italy. So the Zionists are the ones that bring all these horrible people into power for the last 100 years. And watch all those documentaries on our website, on our social media. We're 100% dependent on donations from our viewers, so please donate when you visit freepalestine.video.
Thank you. And you're on the new site. What is it? Unscrolled, right? The new. I'm on there too, and regularly. And what do you think of it so far?
Well, so far we're getting more shares and more likes on there with just a few thousand followers than the tens of thousands of followers we have on X. So it's not surprising, of course, because we're heavily throttled and manipulated our feed on X, even according to Grok, 90 something percent throttled. Same thing on YouTube. It's really shocking, by the way. We have a Substack account that has just above 2,000 followers, subscribers, and the YouTube account has around almost 40,000 subscribers. They get practically the same number of views. And that shows you how those numbers on YouTube, when people look right now on how many people are watching this live stream, this is a lie. It's most probably 100 times the number that we see below this video is the true number of those who are watching. And so, I don't care anymore about these numbers. And the work is reaching this audience because people are thirsty and hungry for truth. and they're looking and seeking it, and they're finding it. So we just, all of us that are working in media like this, independent media, should have our head high. We've done a lot of education to the population over the last decade or so, and inshallah we will see a change in our society soon.
Thank you very much, everybody. Don't forget, the website is freepalestine.video. That's freepalestine.video. And make sure that when you go there, you click on their social media link so you can follow all of their social media stuff and you can immediately see what they're doing. He's on Upscrolled. I'm on Upscrolled. I don't know what's going to happen. I do see some Zionist attack, which is obvious to me. They put like these Hitler things on there all the time. They'll put all of this like over the top Hitler hate Jews stuff, right? And now there's articles coming out. Oh my God, and I'm like, there's anti-Semitism on Upscroll. You put it's a false flag. They put these crazy anti-Semitism stuff, posts on Upscrolled, and then they scream at the top of their lungs, oh, it has to be stopped. It's like, it's so obvious what you guys are doing. Who couldn't see that? Anyway, thanks a lot, Laith. Certainly appreciate it. I got to get ready to run. But everybody, share this on all your social media platforms. We're out.